Hi everyone, Brian from Variable Traders here. It is Sunday, November the 7th. And of course, this is the weekend video. We'll take a look at the past week, how stocks traded. Of course, we had a bunch of new highs last week. And then we'll take a look ahead here at coming week and see how things are shaping up and what we got on watch. So let's get down to it. Okay, so let's start out with a high-level view, as I like to do here. Take a look at how things went over the last week and look ahead. So again, as I mentioned, SPY, Qs, Dow, all went out, all-time highs. Looking a little toppy here, I would say especially on the Friday's action. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But definitely extended, and I think maybe we need to take a bit of a breather, get a bit of a pullback. By no means I'm implying that we'll get any kind of a significant sell-off, but just more of a consolidation back and fill. IWM, we had a really nice breakout of a trading range last week, and again, played that with TNA. That was a really nice move after a long period of consolidation. Friday, we had a strong jobs report. We also had a strong, very, very hot number in terms of earnings growth. All that you would have thought interest rates would have started to go higher, but strangely enough, they pulled back. So I'm not really sure how to make that how to ration that or rationalize that. But anyway, price is truth. The dollar kind of flat on the week. I think we ended up about 0.1% higher, but nothing, no big move to speak of. And of course, on Wednesday, we had the Fed with their announcement on tapering and the timeline to the end. And of course, it was probably the best telegraph move ever done by the Fed. So there wasn't, and of course, when they put out nothing that wasn't expected, there was a positive reaction in the market. So no news, no unexpected news was good news for the markets. So the coming week, we do have CPI on Wednesday. Of course, I think everybody's expecting this is going to be a hot number. Inflation's still out there. Of course, anybody who goes out shopping for food probably knows that, as well as other things. Earnings this week, lots of interesting companies reporting this week. We've got the meme stock, AMC, PayPal, which has been taking an absolute beating with the PINS fiasco. And then, of course, on Tuesday, PLTR before the market. And then EV company Neo, Coin, UPST, Fubo, and Plug. So a few alternate energy stock plays, EV plays. And then Wednesday, SoFi and Disney, Affirm, and Beyond Meat. So a few DeFi stocks there. And then, of course, Hut 8, which is a Bitcoin mining company in Canada, as well as BLNK Charger. So yeah, lots of some smattering of a bunch of stuff here, but lots of interesting reports coming up. So before we deep dive into the actual indexes and the price action last week, I always like to throw in here a plug for my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, rules, routines, and strategies that I use as a swing trader. So it's there on Amazon if you want to check it out. So let's get down to the actual looking at the indexes here. So I'm starting to keep a look at the 2-year yield and comparing it to the 10-year, because again, sign of a recession is if they start to flatten, but no sign of that last week. As you can see here, the 2-year got quite extended and then really sold off on the week. So, and I think if we'll take a look at the weekly on the 10-year, you can see we also had a similar sell-off. So all the yields definitely pulled back on the week, and pretty significant Thursday and Friday pullback on the 10-year after the Fed announcement. And yeah, so it just seemed like maybe we're going to check back here to these moving averages, and then we'll see where we go from here. But we definitely look sort of stuck in a range at this point on the yields. Transports, big day on Tuesday, and of course a lot of inside action Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Friday had a big volume day, but not a lot of movement, so maybe some indication that some of the larger players are moving positions around here. Again, on a weekly basis, again breaking out all-time high, but really well off the high. Of course, they had that big day on Tuesday that kind of makes this candle look a little strange. And the Dow on the daily, of course, we had a big day up on Friday as well, and another break higher, well off the high of the day. We'll take a high-level view of all those indexes in a sec. But on the week, of course, we're up another 1.5 or 1.4% anyway on the week. Of all the indexes, the Dow is probably looking the least extended. The Q is quite extended from these moving averages here. All the moving averages you can see here, RSI pretty close to 80, 78 on the daily. So we are pushing up here, volume picking up during the week. On the weekly, you can see again here breaking out all-time high. Again, sort of average volume as far as the week goes, but still looking strong and still in that uptrend. The SPY on a daily, sort of same comments as the Q. Bigger, more trading on Friday, sort of the previous couple days in the week. Again, all-time high here, RSI over 70 again. Volume, nothing really of note. And the IWM on the daily, again, really nice breakout from this level right here. And you could see there was sort of a secondary level here. It just did not hesitate at all. It just ripped higher. On volume, I might add here. So really nice move on IWM. Been watching it since back here, this double bottom that was put in, and then as I mentioned, a series of higher lows as we kept pushing up towards this level that kept acting as resistance. Like I said, very powerful move and a very sort of powerful setup on that chart, which made that quite obvious that it was going to happen. So on a week here, you can see nice clean breakout. We may get a bit of a pullback here this week. We may get a pullback to where we checked out from or broke out from. That's quite a typical pattern. And again here, much bigger volume on the week last week. The dollar, as I mentioned, kind of chopping in this range. It's sitting at a higher, right up at near resistance. And you can almost see maybe there's a bit of a similarity here. We got one low, we got a double bottom here, or actually even a triple bottom. And then you can maybe argue that we're getting a higher low here. Maybe we're just going to keep an eye on this level here. And if we get a breakout on the dollar, you can see the pullback here on Friday. It was not on much volume, so maybe we are going to break out. It may not be good for emerging markets or sort of gold and silver trade. And again, interesting, we did have, we did sort of put in another double bottom here. I mentioned this on the VIX a couple times, looking for this pullback right back to where we found resist or support many times before here, back here, a little bit higher here, but again, here and here. And so we had some buying of options, a bit of maybe people reading the markets are really extended as well, and they're looking for a little bit of protection on this move higher. So this kind of gives me, again, a feeling that maybe we're going to be chopping next week and maybe doing a little back and filling before we maybe consolidate and even push higher. And Bitcoin's really sort of narrowing into a very small trading range here. That's obviously sometimes referred to as a pennant. You can see here's a line drawn on the tops of these candles, line drawn on the bottom. And you can see we're narrowing into a very sort of narrow trading range here. And usually what'll happen is it'll break out of this range one way or another. The key with the pennant is to wait until you get that definitive move. Quite often the move is in the direction of the larger trend. Of course, the larger trend being higher. But again, you really need to wait for confirmation. So again, Bitcoin looking like it's trying to figure out where to go here, and we may find out next week. So let's take a look quickly here at some of the stuff I'm going to be watching. Again, coming up this week, Apple last week I was short some 146 puts, just basically sold the puts. And of course wasn't expecting it to break this 146 level. Didn't. Puts went out worthless, so I kept the premium on that one. So I'll be watching again here. We do seem to be sort of trading in this range. It looks like 153 might be an area where Apple's going to have a challenge get through. Certainly 155 could be some resistance here. So maybe selling some upside calls next week we'll take a look at that if we do get some churning sideways on the markets. A firm, as I mentioned earlier, is I'm looking at it. I'm watching it for a breakout. It's reporting, as I mentioned, later in the week, and so I'll be watching that. If it does come in with some really good numbers, there is really no. It's completely blue sky upside here. So that could be a good catalyst to push this stock higher. So maybe look at an options trade going into that, but we'll see how things shape up as the week goes. DKNG is an absolute disaster here. You can see how it's really. I was mentioning here the 48 level needed to hold. It did sort of a lot of choppy action when it did finally lose 48. Really put up a fight, but then again sold off. We had an earnings report on Friday, so maybe a bottom's put in here. Certainly this 42 level, this candle, we sold down to 42.15 on this candle, and then got pretty significant bounce here. So maybe this is the bottom on DraftKings. Ford, I got long some calls again here. They don't expire till next year, and so I've had a really nice run up here from this 17 level. Already sold some just because it just ran so far so fast. So out of half of that position with a nice gain already. And I expect there'll be a little bit of a pullback here and may add back again if we do get a pullback into that 18 level. Facebook, or whatever you want to call them now, Meta platforms. Again, really nice. I sold some, or I had some 330 calls, had a nice move up here, and yeah, I think hit this moving average, pulled back. So I'd be watching for continued strength on this. I don't know that they're out of the woods yet with all this whistleblowing stuff, but again, this stuff tends to come out, hit the stock, and then kind of die down, and then just keeps going back up again. So maybe a good place here, a fill of this gap back down to 33.36. Where did it close out the day? 335.85. So yes, 336 range. Again, maybe a decent pullback for getting long again on Meta platforms. And FCX, the materials are doing well, but FCX doesn't seem to be performing as well. And I would have thought with all the EV hot stock plays, we need copper. And of course, the Build Back infrastructure bill is going to need a lot of copper as well. So kind of keeping an eye on them with this one still, looking for 39 possible breakout. Again, still long FedEx, almost filled the gap. I was looking for about 249. We didn't quite get there. High on this candle was 246.78. So I'm still long this, and I'm still looking for this gap fill here. You can see the gap fills are really nice because you don't have a lot of people that are stuck in this level. So that's why it had a nice pop up on Thursday. A bit of a pullback Friday there, but again, nice little bottom trade there. I did take a little bit of a long position here on gold. I'm cautious on it because if the dollar does break out, it's really going to fight. It's going to be a fight to go higher. But again, sort of a interesting bottoming action here. We had a gap up day on Thursday, pulled back to the breakout, and then a strong day on Friday. Went out right near the high of the day. So RSI turning up through 50 here, stochastics turning up. So again, back in gold. Again, nice breakout on the gold price. But again, we are up into, this will be an area here where there'll be some obvious resistance here. Joe was one I was looking at from a scan. You can see here, nice breakout. Kind of looks like the TNA. Or the IWM chart. We had this nice series of higher lows. Unfortunately, I didn't get in earlier back here, but we had a breakout, so I'm looking at Joe to go higher, and RSI looking good, stochastics looking good. Yeah, momentum definitely. And LCID still breaking out here. I think this has got probably more room to run, and I guess we'll see what NEO does. The only thing is it is pretty extended, so I'd be looking for a bit of a pullback to get into it, but it's definitely definitely a stock that's strong and looks like it's going to continue to be strong. PayPal, I mentioned we are getting a report Monday after the market close, so keeping an eye on this one for a trade. It's definitely, as I said, since this pins thing, definitely been taking a serious beating. It was already trending down a little bit here, but this really is just a horrible looking chart. But maybe we've gotten to a point where it's so bad it's maybe viable. But I'll be looking for some indication as to what's going to happen after they report earnings. So again, this is the way we played the breakout of the IWM with the TNA. I'm out of most of it right now, just because it's gotten so extended, and it looks like it's probably going to need a bit of a pullback here and doing some consolidation before we move higher. Tesla, again, really super extended. I might be looking to sell some upside calls here and let it pull back a bit, but this is not a stock you really want to step in front of in a big way, because it's just a cult stock and people love it, and it's just continues to rip for the bulls. Energy, I'm watching, it's still chopping sideways here. We had a pretty good day with energy on Friday with the sector overall. It was the best sector performing on Friday, and with the OPEC news, I think they're not going to boost any output. So that was positive. So flipping over to FinViz, just a quick look at how we traded on Friday. You can see we gapped up, strong jobs report, and then after a bit of consolidation, the markets just couldn't find buyers to move higher, and it eventually just sold off. As actually the Nasdaq went red on the day momentarily, and then all the indexes finished in the red, but sort of well off the highs of the day. So again, kind of buyer exhaustion, I guess, if you want to call it that. And then here you can see the groups, how we did on the groups. Energy was a good performer, but we've got technology, industrials, consumer cyclicals, consumer discretionary, that kind of stuff, all performing quite well last week. And again, the discretionary and technology sectors are continuing to do really well. So good to stick with that XLY play. So that's where the groups and where the money was rotating last week. Healthcare had a bit of a bad day Friday, and again on the week, not so good either. So that's it. I hope everyone's had a good weekend. We got that extra hour of sleep last night if you're on flipping back to daylight savings time. And so just remember to set your clocks back if you haven't already. And yeah, so we'll see you tomorrow morning, Monday, 8 o'clock. We'll be live on YouTube with Jared Pre-Market Show, starting out engineering the markets, and then through the pre-market show into the market open, and at 9:30 we'll be trading the market. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and we'll hopefully see you in the morning. Bye for now.